They say rap music is subliminal, but the music for us is like our own diary, something like a confession. They told me life is a bitch, and she's something like the seasons, just like Mother Nature. She come and go as she please, that's why they get the period once a month. I say that to say this, if you think that bitch summer is yours, she could be cheating on you. You heard? It's got me feeling like opium. I'm trying to dance with the load of them. Another bottle when it goes to rent. I'm leaving drunk about 4 a.m. They watch me jump up in the golden stairs, top down with the pokey rims. Now I'm swerving so you know I'm bent. I lost count, who knows what I spent. I recall 9 cleavers, bitches stepping on my nice sneakers. One hand in the sky, the other hand was on a thigh. I was grinding to the beat with my hammer on my side. Now G and Zoe lead as we speed to the Rolex. And 3 or 4 G's is what we sneeze at the Rolex. Glancing my Japard, it's about 6 a.m. You think the night is over, but it just began. They said club space, like Bad Boys 2. You can see the snow bunnies do what bad girls do. That's ecstasy weed, they had girl too. Scooped the bitch that had the keys to something fast so blue. Now I'm speeding to the telly, I got the Porsche behind. Trying to get up in the belly, the only thought in my mind, like damn. Not trying to be pushy or nothing, but since the strip joint girl, I should have been fucking. I should have known. Listen, spending my summer.
Good afternoon, everybody. We are back to Big Man and Canvas. We're live Tuesday, February 14th, Ryan, Valentine's Day. I got you, my Valentine, here, live and better. Ryan, that song was so slept on when it came out. I love that track. I was a huge Diplomats fan. Jim Jones, you remember, We Fly High?
Of course.
And I always liked Trey Songz. Like, I was always a big fan of his. So that was such a slept on track because I was a big fan, Ryan, of the rapper and the singer doing a track together.
Right.
I remember, you remember that song, No Better Love? I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but if you heard it, you know what I'm talking about. There's a great lyricist on there with the singer. They're just good. I always love that. That's something you don't see nowadays really too often.
No.
But we're back. It's Valentine's Day, and we will try to dish out some love with our winners tonight, hopefully.
Love is in the air.
Right.
Love is in the air.
And,
everyone loves winners. So.
Right. Ryan, I do want to shout out my off and on Valentine.
Oh, do you have one?
Yeah. Listen, I want to tell you a story about long lost love, Ryan. When I was about 17, we were just fresh out of high school. I know you knew me. I was a young whippersnapper at the time. It was the summer of graduation year, basically, and I met a girl, and she lived in New Jersey, and I lived here. And I went and saw her for a while, and one time she says to me, I'm going to come see you. So she came and saw me. You know her. She came down, but you know what was crazy, Ryan? When I was with her, she brought her friend with her. And I get into the car, and it's a true story. She could relive it and tell you. I look back, and I see this girl who had black hair, and she was just my type, man. Like, my type dude. Keep in mind, the friend was my girl at the time. To this day, we're 9 years later, off and on, we still have a love for each other. When we see each other, we see each other. Shout out to her. Shout out to my girl Jen.
There you go.
We've been off and on for a long time. She's a great girl, one of my best friends, and someday hopefully we'll be able to be together. She lives there, I live here, so it's hard.
Make it happen. You got nothing holding you back.
Shout out to my baby girl Jen. Welcome. Thank you for listening.
There you go.
That's that.
Know who my Valentine is?
Who?
Teddy Valentine. That's my.
Oh yeah, your long lost brother.
Teddy Valentine.
Yeah.
I don't think there'll be a lot of love with his game tonight.
Who's he on tonight?
Not sure, but I have to imagine.
I'm sure he will have one.
Decent amount of games tonight. I gotta imagine he's gonna have one. So
yeah. So shout out to Jen. Thanks for always being a constant. You've always been a welcome source of positivity around me. Ryan, you don't have a Valentine. Your mom, maybe, I guess.
I do not have a Valentine, no.
Right. Well, let's see if we can get you a winner tonight, and that will be your Valentine. You're a couple games under 500, but it's time, Ryan, to get a winner tonight. Let's jump into everything. As always, welcome to everyone out there listening. We are talking college basketball. We'll also discuss some other things going on in sports, and we'll also do, as always, 5 questions. If you want to communicate with us, all you got to do is hit the little message icon on Spreaker, and you can chat with us. Brad, what's up? Trey, Brian Manning, what's going on? Welcome to everyone listening. Quick public side note, Ryan, you can catch the roundtable we did earlier. SBR, a couple great handicappers. I will also, Ryan, have my show tomorrow where we'll be talking a little NASCAR as well.
Okay.
So
Daytona 500 only
Yeah,
less than 2 weeks away.
yeah, next week Daytona goes. So welcome. Welcome, Glenn. Welcome, Nick. Hope you're well. Let's jump into tonight's action, Ryan. Last night, we got a push with DePaul over. How about that? It was 30.
I didn't think there was any way that would even come close.
And they scored 80 points in the second half.
Crazy.
It probably should have won. The kid went 1 of 2 with 3 seconds left from the line and ended up pushing. But we got a push there. The other play I had was Baylor, who didn't show up.
No, they didn't.
Really tough performance from them. I mentioned Howard was a team I really liked last night. Wish I would have went with them.
Yeah.
They got the job done. That MEAC continues to be a source of pleasure for me. Ryan, I thought you had a good play in Siena. They looked good. I thought they would be a team that, but again, Ryan looked. They always are like that. They always play those close games, and they can never just get up over the hump.
Other game I liked too, Furman was the flow, of course. So that's how it goes.
Oh yeah, of course.
I liked Furman. I mentioned that on the show.
That's always how it goes.
I mentioned that to you that they've been rolling. So
yeah,
I wish I would have went with them, but
sure.
I like my play tonight. I'll be honest. The play tonight, I'm really confident, more so than the last couple days. So I do. I really like the play tonight.
And again, Ryan's not a capper. Ryan just has some fun.
I do it for fun. So whether you and Jeff always makes the comment for entertainment purposes only. Mine is definitely for entertainment
and that's
purposes.
what this show's for. I mean
really,
there's these plays that we're giving out are plays that were good. They weren't the best plays.
That's
on
the
board.
funny thing. I've had people message me and DM me dude, you're not very good. Blah, blah. It's
yeah.
Well, I don't do this.
You gotta love it.
I have a 9 to 5. I come home. I try to get a game for everyone.
Right.
Right.
And that's why you just kind of
try to do it to help out.
I've realized that at this point, now that I'm not on that show that I was on, people almost laugh in a way. They're like, well, he goes 2-1 or 1-2 or whatever. And it's these plays there's a reason I don't.
Right.
I put small plays in on these, but they're not.
But it's not the plays you give out.
If you want to bet them, that's your business.
Sure.
Just
exactly.
Again, I have member plays. I have 2 tonight. Those are the best plays I have.
Yep.
So, let's move on. Again, tail at your own risk, fade at your own risk.
Right.
Ryan will tell you probably want to fade him.
Probably at this point.
Again, do that. And when we go on runs, which we'll go on,
right.
We've been on runs.
Yep.
We had one of the more legendary baseball runs that you could ever have. But we're not going to go into, stuff like that. That's what people do that don't have much to talk about. We have a lot to talk about. Let's jump into tonight's action as always. Overtime's killed a lot of people, dude. That's not just you. I've seen so many unders go over because of overtime.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's the point. What people need to, and this is kind of a good housekeeping thing for people that are coming up in this business or trying to do something in this business. Ryan, if someone came to me and said, "Should I be a handicapper?" I would say, "No. Go the fuck away from this business. It's a difficult business. It's stressful. There's a lot you have to deal with." And look, I wake up. I don't have to go to a job every day, but when you have to win, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
And Frank makes a great point. So many people expect 80%.
Right.
70%.
Yeah, of course.
To make a lot of money, if you win 56%, you're going to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
People don't understand. This is a 54% business. If you can go 54%, you're going to make money.
Right.
And that's why Twitter is so diluted at this point, because there's so many children giving out picks. There's so many small kids that don't know anything about sports giving out picks, and they dilute this so bad, it's not even funny. The Twitter that I knew, Donnie Rightside knows, that's long gone, man. It's long gone.
Right.
So, and look, for me, Ryan, when we were in high school, I bet. I've been betting on sports since I was a kid. You know that. We both have done that. We've shared our stories. Bad runs can fuck you up, but you have to keep it going, right?
Yep.
You get out of it.
Of course.
It's a 365-day-a-year thing.
Yep.
You're not going to remember 3 or 4 weeks.
It's just like baseball hitters. If you hit 400, you're
right.
considered a great hitter. That's only getting a hit 40% of the time.
Right.
Here, you need to hit almost 60% of the time, which even makes it more difficult. So,
Yeah. Do you share member plays here or only for sale? I don't share them here, Jihad, very rarely. If you hit me up, I'll gladly give you a night of picks. I have no problem with that.
Right.
These are plays that are interesting. They're not the best, though. A big man, can you handicap Creighton? I think they've been falsely written off and represent value. I disagree. I think maybe in certain situations they're going to be profitable, against a DePaul or something like that. But listen, I mean, Maurice Watson was huge for their team.
Of course,
42% of their points. Losing him was bad, and it sucked because I was really high on Creighton. I know you were too.
Yeah, a lot of people were.
In a certain situation, yeah. I mean, you got the right situation. Again, game to game with Creighton. But do I think long term they're going to do anything? No, I don't.
I don't think how anyone can at this point.
So let's jump into tonight's plays, Ryan, and see what we can do here. Where is your game at? What conference?
Mine is. I'll just tell you, it's the Richmond George Mason game.
I'll just
tell you.
We got a coin flip.
I'll just tell you what it is. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Let's start with me, Ryan. First game. This one goes at 6:00 Eastern. I'm going to go to the A10. You got VCU hosting St. Joe's, and Ryan, being from where we are, we get a lot of good St. Joe's news. And when Shavar Newkirk went out, I mentioned this team would struggle, and they have. They've lost 4 in a row, and they've lost like 6 of 8, I think. They've struggled.
Yep.
Now Lamar Kimball goes out, who, new McGrady product. He was kind of the anchor to them once Newkirk went out. He's now out. James Demery's been injured most of the year. Now you got to go on the road and play at VCU.
Yeah.
No guards are going to kill you against VCU. VCU forces 15 turnovers a game, Ryan. That's really high. They're among the best.
Right.
When Shaka was there, they were even higher.
Yep.
Will Wade's kind of tailed it back a little. Still a very good defensive team. Ryan, it's crazy to talk about. Kimball and Newkirk accounted for over 50% of St. Joe's points. That's a hard thing to do. Now you got to go on the road without them. Face a VCU team that has been dominating at home. 80 points a game, giving up just 63. Opponents are shooting in conference just 40% against the Rams. And I'm hard-pressed to find a way that St. Joe's scores tonight. I think they really struggle here. I think at 16, obviously it's a pretty high number, but this is just a bad matchup tonight for St. Joe's, and really hard to think that they're going to go in there and stay within 20 of this one. I'm going to lay the number here. I think VCU pounds St. Joe's tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely a tall order for the Joes. I mean, really, you never want to lose a few of your better players, really. And I think you hit the nail right on the head when you're looking at this game and kind of looking at the matchup is you don't want to lose your 2 best players, and you don't want to lose those 2 best players that are guards, especially going into a situation like this with that press and the amount of turnovers they're able to create. And you have to rely on guys that aren't accustomed to scoring in bunches now that really kind of have to take over as this team's not only leading scorers, but they have to be leaders. I mean, you look at the leadership out on the floor, that's a big, that's something that really need to kind of look at here. And VCU, look, this team's been very fortunate lately, had some close games, down to the wire games, maybe some games that they shouldn't have won, fortunate enough to get those wins, a couple kind of slobber knockers, if you will. Now I think, though, that the fact that they get to come back home, play it in an opponent that they really should be able to kind of handle. I mean, St. Joe's just hasn't been good really all year, but especially in conference. Only got 3 conference wins. So I look for Virginia Commonwealth to take care of business too. The number, when I initially looked at this, the number is a little high. But, when you make the point, Jeff, of St. Joe's losing 50% of its points, I mean, this is a team in St. Joe's that, they're not a prolific offense by any means.
71 points a game.
And on the road, what do they score, like 65, 67 points per game on the road? Now you have to take ththose points away. That's a tall task,
It's a
man.
very tall task, and I think they will struggle here tonight. Take those guys out,
right.
It's gonna be tough.
Yep.
I think this is like a 72-53 type of game. I really think it's a blowout, honestly. So take that for what it's worth. Starts early here.
If I'm VCU too, I turn up the pressure a little bit more tonight. I know,
sure.
Like you said. Look, when Shaka left, they kind of dialed it back a little bit. Still pressure, of course, but they dialed it back, not like Shaka did. If tonight, I kind of go fucking balls to the wall here and say, Okay.
Early start.
Their guards are out.
Yeah.
Who's going to Who's going to bring the ball up?
And let's be brutally
Really?
honest here. Even with Newkirk and Kimball, they weren't very good.
Sure.
It's been a tough year for Phil Martelli.
Right.
I mean, he's going to reload. Tyler Funk goes there next year. We know. We've seen him. They're going to reload, but it's a tough year for Phil and team here.
It is.
Big number, though. Definitely in conference. That's the one skepticism here. But, look, if this was 13.5, this would be a member play for me. Just so many points in conference. But they should have no trouble here. So I would go with VCU minus the 16 as the first free play. What's up, Julian? How you doing? Jihad, he just said something really nice about us on Twitter, Ryan. I'm not the best. That's very appreciative. I appreciate that. I think as far as the things that I know, I'm the best. As far as being the best capper, I just try to do well. I'm not the best, though. We try to be
Thanks for
humble,
the kind words, though.
Yeah, of course. Shout out to VIP Barbershop, Brian. They're listening in, as always.
There you go.
Had a good talk with Gabriel, the owner there. He said some nice things about the show. And stuck up for me today in front of our old friend Mike B. So
Okay. Very nice.
it's funny with the new people that
That
listen.
guy's still around?
Yeah, he is. Still bothering me.
Wow. That's hard to believe.
It is. It really. I gotta give him it. I
want
really.
to. I want to go back and
Yeah.
and see how long he's been pestering.
It's been about 2
because
years.
Look, I've long since blocked him, so I don't get to see anything he does. So I'd like to know how long he's continued.
Well, I know
this
exactly
for.
because he started messing around with me. Pause about messing around with me, but messing around with the service 2 years ago. Football season coming up, so yeah. Listen,
So it's been almost 2 years.
and
wow.
here's why I know Mike B is someone in this business. No civilian would care this much about me. There isn't a reason he's doing this.
Yeah.
I've said it before, and I'll
pretty
say it
wild.
again. I'm pretty sure I know who it is, and it's pathetic when we find out.
Regardless of who it is.
I know who it is. It's pretty obvious at this point. But yeah, he has continued to bother us, and it's funny when new people come around because Gabe actually stuck up for me today about that. And listen, guys, just block them. I mean, there's really nothing else we can do.
All you can do.
I've moved to get them removed. Twitter won't do anything about it. So I just try to be thick and have thick skin and not let it bother me anymore. Let's move on to the next one here and take a look at. Let's take a look at this one, Ryan. Miami of Ohio and Kent State. And I don't know if this is a sucker bet. I don't know if this is too many points. I don't really know. But I'm going to take a shot with it. I don't have a ton on it. Just kind of my opinion. I think this is too many points here with Miami of Ohio. I watched them on Saturday against Central Michigan, and they owned the Chippewas for most of the game. They played great defensively. I think they have a neutralization down low for Jimmy Hall. Kent State, a very good rebounding team. I think they can neutralize those guys down low. And if you look at the first matchup, Brian, very competitive. I think it was a 3 or 4 point game. Kent State was able to rebound, but so was Miami of Ohio. And I think in this one, I kind of wonder why Kent State's as big as a favorite as they are. They've lost 6 of 10. They're not playing well. And they're giving up almost 80 points in conference, Ryan. I don't really understand why this line's this high. I think it's kind of hidden tonight in the other MAC games, but I get the feeling this is too many points. I think they're going to hang around here, the Red Hawks. I think they got some confidence the other night against Central Michigan. And Central Michigan had been playing very well coming into that game. I like Miami of Ohio to hang around here, maybe challenge to win this one. Seems like too many points to me.
I don't know.
They've lost 6 of 10.
Who?
Kent State.
Yeah, I hear you. I think, though, it's kind of one of them things where Miami of Ohio is just one of those patented teams where it's just very different on the road. I mean, they're giving up 84 points per game. You look at the first matchup, you're
And
right.
that's the concern.
You're right. They win by 4, but Kent State leaves 11 free throws off the scoreboard. This team shoots 71% as a team, yet in that game they only shoot 53% from the line. So that game could have easily been a higher number than it was. And credit for Miami of Ohio for hanging around. They get a push out of it when it's all said and done. I'll be honest, man, this one I don't really care for. I'm not really a team in Miami of Ohio that has no road wins at all. Don't even have. And granted, they don't need to win this game at all, but at least I would like to see them, get a couple road wins here and there, and they're not good ATS. So I've made it clear, man. I don't, and I did it last night, and I killed myself for it. And halfway through the second half, I was killing myself because I went against what I usually don't do, and I really don't like backing bad teams. I just don't like doing it.
Yeah, but you have two bad teams here.
I hear you, but I just don't like backing bad teams. A team that gives up 84 points, almost 10 points more away from home than they do.
But Ryan, I think you have to. So. I think you're kind of getting ahead of yourself. You need to look at in conference. That's what's important right now.
Okay.
And I see a team. It's not like Kent State doesn't
75 points. They're giving up 75 points over the last 5.
Kent State's giving up 80.
Kent State is sure. No, I hear you. Miami of Ohio is going to have to score.
Here's why.
Yeah.
Here's why I think this game is a little closer than you might think. In this conference, other than Akron, you can depend on very few teams. I mean, you look at last week. Ohio was laying a big number to Central Michigan. Central Michigan went in and won the game outright.
Do they have a layover from Central Michigan, Miami of Ohio? That's a big win for them.
It's Wednesday.
That's a big win.
But it was Saturday.
I hear you.
It's Wednesday now. Yeah. And, again, this one could lose. That's why it's a free play. Yeah. I'm going to take a shot here. Right. I think this is too many points. It can lose. It may lose.
Right.
But games like this, as a gambler, sometimes you have to take shots. And this is one of them that I think there's.
That line's all over the place too. Opened at 10.5, went to 11, went all the way down to 9.5. Now it's up to 10. That line's all over the place.
If this was, if it was 6.5, maybe. But I'm just not interested in laying 10 points at Kent State.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I hear you.
Especially in this conference. So I'm going to take the points plus 10 here and go with the MOH Redhawks. Final game, Ryan, and I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with another dog here, and I'm going to, with bated breath, tell you why I'm not on this game in fully. I'm going to go with Texas tonight against Oklahoma. And, again, with bated breath, we have to remember here, at +2, you're basically thinking they're going to win. Texas has not won a game on the road this year.
Correct.
Let's point that out. So if you say Shaka's doing some good things there, let's look at it.
But they've been good ATS.
Right.
So.
Right. But again, we don't have a lot of room for error here.
You don't.
You basically need them to win.
You're asking them to win for the most part.
But again, can we agree that Oklahoma's probably the worst team in the Big 12?
Which is crazy considering they were in the Final Four last year.
Right. But you look at what a difference the season makes.
Yeah.
Everyone's gone. Jordan Woodard's gone. Who, by the way, had a bad year anyway.
Well, he's just not he can't be the focal point of a team.
Very tough end of his career because he had a horrible year.
Yep.
He couldn't get going. He was injured.
That's the thing, though. He's the guy, and he's not a the guy player. He's just not. In my opinion, I don't think.
No, he isn't.
He was a great compliment last year to that team.
No,
but this year being the man,
and that's the problem. They lost a lot. I mean, that was their season.
They lost a lot. They did.
And you look at everything about Oklahoma right now. They packed it in. This season's done. You look at the crowd. Have you seen the crowd?
Oh, I know.
I mean, no one goes to the game.
It's been talked about.
I mean, there's empty spots everywhere.
Yep.
And now you're getting an Oklahoma team. Now you got to play without Woodard, who, for the record, I mean, their tempo was high.
Yeah.
You have to think it's going to get back to the normal slow down pace. I mean, who's going to score for this team tonight?
Right.
They don't have a ball handler, really.
Yeah.
And you get a Texas team who, look, again, I'm not really interested in them either, just because they don't win on the road. But I mean, at least they try. They have talent.
Yeah.
Oklahoma doesn't try.
I hear you.
I mean, really.
No, I know.
And I feel like if you're going to get a win on the road, why not tonight?
8 wins for Oklahoma, yeah. What?
The concerns here for me, though, it looks too good to be true. Texas hasn't won on the road. Remember how Oklahoma lost the last game?
I was going to say, you remember the last game? That miracle win for Texas?
But yeah, and that's my problem. But I just think Texas or Oklahoma's checked out.
Yeah.
I really do. And yeah, I mean, you're totally right. It's crazy how bad the Sooners have become. That's a very good point. They just have no semblance of anything going on. They have no real rim protectors. It's just, it looks too good to be true in this one. Really.
I couldn't pull the trigger on Oklahoma either at this point in the season. I mean, even though Texas, like you said, doesn't have a road win, you look and at least Texas puts up some sort of fight, like you said. And I credit that to Shaka Smart. He's that kind of person. Shaka Smart doesn't strike me as the type of person that's going to let his team kind of pack it in. And Shaka Smart looks and reminds me of a person that if he sees his team packing it in,
right,
next day practice is going to be brutal.
Right.
So, I think Texas, I would go Texas here. Tough coin flip game, like you said, basically asking Texas to win here. I'll go with them here slightly, but yeah, I think Oklahoma definitely is back. I mean, wouldn't you pack it in, really? I mean, Christ, your best players are out.
They're actually
You're
the worst team in the Big 12.
I was going to say, you're 8-16. You have 2 wins in conference. I mean, you just have nothing going. The crowd is terrible. It's not like the crowd can get you excited and pumped up. So, I mean, it's bad. It's bad in Norman.
Yeah, it really is. And, I mean, in general, I know Oklahoma football had a good year, but
Yeah.
when you get the Joe Mixon stuff hanging over your head,
Right.
It's tough right now. So I'll take a shot with Texas here. Texas should have hired Marshall instead of Shaka. Well, I don't think Greg wanted to leave Wichita.
He didn't.
I don't, from what I understand. But I don't think it's Shaka, though. I really don't. I think he's building something there. If they could sell Mohamed Bamba, that's huge.
Yeah,
I don't know if he'll go there.
They've creeped back in, yeah.
And if they can get him, watch out for that.
I think it's talent more so than Shaka.
I don't, because I think they
No,
because those are Rick Barnes guys.
So you blame Shaka more than the talent for this?
I think it's a little of both. They've had a tough year. I mean, they've had Kevin Mack's been suspended for most of the year.
Yeah, that's a big loss.
They listen, Kerwin Roach and they have people that
I made it clear though. I don't. You say these are Rick Barnes guys. Case in point that the reason why they're not playing well.
Right. Yeah, and
they
that's
didn't play well under Rick Barnes. The whole new coach comes in. Look,
but I think long
they're still
term,
struggling.
In the next 2 or 3 years, I think they're going to be a good team in the Big 12.
And that's what I'm saying. And I think that once you get Shaka Smart players.
Yeah. So. Well, and that's going to take time. He's his second year.
Yep.
If he lands Bamba, that's huge for this program and impressive if he can do it. Ryan, Richmond George Mason. Why don't you let us know what you like here as your play of the day?
Gonna go with George Mason. Going to go with George Mason at home here.
Okay.
Pretty big game here. Richmond opened as a 1-point favorite. It's come down to a pick here. So basic coin flip game. All we need George Mason to do is win this game. Look, Jeff kind of put George Mason on my map about a week or so ago, and rightfully so. Team's playing really good basketball right now. 4-1 in their last 5, 3-1 ATS over that little stretch. Look, just playing good basketball right now. That's all that really needs to kind of be said, especially offensively. Last 5 games, scoring almost 80 points a game. Richmond, however, they're filling it up as well. I thought about going with the over in this one. That's a direction I contemplated going to. But in a coin flip game, obviously, the way I look at it, I'm going to take the home team here, and I'm going to take who I think is just kind of the better overall team. Big advantage on the glass, too, for George Mason. You look, these teams played earlier this year, actually about 3 weeks ago, end of January, and as a 6-point dog, George Mason wins outright. So, George Mason they almost scooped in 50 rebounds that night. That's crazy. Like I said, big rebounding edge. It paid dividends last game. I think it pays dividends this game. Better free throw shooting team. George Mason is a good free throw shooting team. Richmond fouls a little bit more than George Mason as well. So I'm going to kind of ride you by putting George Mason in my ear, and I'm going to go with them here after they had a big win Saturday, did they not? Or over the weekend? I thought they had a big win recently.
I gotta look. I forget, but
I could have swore they did.
Here's my George Mason.
I know they did.
I love them as an underdog. I think they're fantastic, and
this
is truly a coin flip game. If you look at the stats, here's the I think the thing that puts it over the edge for me with George Mason. They're at home.
Yep.
They're 6-1 against the spread over the last 7 against Richmond, and they shoot the 3 ball at a much higher level than Richmond.
Mm-hmm.
Richmond struggles to hit threes. George Mason has players suspended. They've had players suspended. Again, you have to look at who the players are that are suspended. All 3 play very little minutes, and they've played without them before, so that's not going to be a problem. Keep in mind, guys, when you're looking and seeing injuries, take a look at how long they've been injured,
right,
and if they're actually integral parts of the team.
Yep.
Lamar Kimball for St. Joe's is a huge part of the team. Guys like Spellman and Boyd, not huge.
Yep.
For them. So again, concerning depth wise, but I don't think it's going to be a big problem. George Mason, I think it's a play here. I think you're on the right side, Ryan.
Mason, yep.
And
I like
again,
them a lot, actually.
I've talked about them. I've actually a little tease for tomorrow's sports bit, Ryan. I was on with Teddy Covers a little bit earlier. We talked a little bit about George Mason.
All
right. So we talked mid majors. So pretty exciting. Look out for that tomorrow. I'll be on sports bit Betting Insight today with Paul, Howard, and Teddy covers Savransky. Had a great talk with Teddy the other night, Ryan. We chatted for about a half an hour. Really, really good guy. Learned a lot.
Good.
I always learn from Teddy when
There
I
you
listen
go.
to him. 7 o'clock Eastern. He will be on the show as well very soon. We're going to have him on for the tournament as well. Wake Forest, Clemson. Clemson needs quite the win tonight, Ryan. They have to have this game. Got some tough ones coming up. Wake, a middling team. Clemson needs this one bad.
At home, they have to have it. I mean, really, like you said, the thing about Clemson too, 13-11, they have some really close losses. In a situation like this, Wake Forest only 6-7 on the road. You're right, and it's funny because last night Texas Tech had to have that game. Really had to have it, a win over a top 3 program. That's huge. Come back tonight. Not as big, but Clemson, I mean, you can't afford it. If you want to hang on with the slimmest of your teeth, you have to win this game. And let's see how desperate they play. And let's see how well they can guard the perimeter, because that's going to be key tonight. Obviously, we talk about Wake Forest. When we break down Wake Forest games, it talks about 3-point shooting. Clemson, teams shoot about 35% against them from behind the arc, 36%. Not terrible, not great either. So they need to get after it defensively. Clemson did go on the road earlier in the season and beat Wake Forest. So can't see them losing tonight. I really can't. Can you? I mean,
I don't know.
That's who you pick, right?
Clemson? Yeah, if I had to play it, I would go with Clemson here. But
Little John.
Yeah, Little John Coliseum. Rutgers, Purdue, 7-13, 7-14. Purdue laying a big number here. I don't have much opinion. I've kind of lost interest in Purdue.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm a little kind of. We talked about them on the roundtable.
They're kind of annoying anymore.
The guard play is just not as good as we thought it would be, and I love Swanigan, but Haas has been extremely disappointing.
Rutgers has been competitive at times at home.
Yeah.
Against upper competition. Not so sure they have enough to go on the
This
road
should
here,
be
though.
a Purdue big win.
Should
but
be.
I'm not interested. Va Tech, Pittsburgh. Will we have a letdown effect from Virginia Tech after the big win against UVA? Great win by them. That was a great game. I watched that on Sunday night.
Big injury,
really good
too.
game.
Clark, he goes out.
I'll tell you what, though. They played well without him.
True.
He went out in the second half, and they played well without him for the rest of the overtimes and everything. Not really crazy about laying points with Pittsburgh in any sort of scenario.
Yeah.
They've been a terrible home team over the years. 16-28 over the last 3 years.
That Oakland Zoo is really wild there anymore, isn't it?
It's not what it used to be. And I'll have to show you Lamar Patterson, Ryan, a local guy who plays in the NBA at this point. He used to go to Pitt. I'll have to show you the quote he had about Pittsburgh basketball at this point.
Okay.
Pretty funny.
Probably pretty upset about it, huh?
Yeah. Well, he was critical. I'll probably go with the Hokies here.
Yeah.
You talk about someone asked about, will I do a 3-team parlay? I've done a couple of those juicy dog parlays, Ryan, 2 of which were actually hedging opportunities that we could have made money on.
Yeah.
One of the picks in that would be Vatek tonight. I think they can win outright tonight. So I'll play it on my own. And
but they're sitting at like plus 180, so
yeah. So I'll go Vatek plus 180. That's one I definitely think that can win. Notre Dame, BC, I'm going to avoid. I have a play on that one. Buffalo, Central Michigan. Here's the thing with Central Michigan. If they play any sort of semblance with a team with a front court, they'll get trashed. And really all you need to do against Central is get bigger guards and kind of just overpower what they do. Buffalo's who I would go with here.
Buffalo's a road favorite of 3 points or less. 22-8
Well,
over
that
the
lined
last
up,
30.
that doesn't mean too much, Ryan, because they lined up to 4.
Pretty, yeah, I hear you.
But good point. They should get the job done here against Central. Ohio, Eastern Michigan, I don't know. No real opinion there. Toledo, Akron, another tough one. This Zips team, when they're on, they're on.
Yep.
Toledo's really struggling to get stops this year on a subsistent basis.
This is another game I contemplated going over in. I mean, you talk about struggling to get stops. I mean, so is Akron, though. I mean, Akron's given up over the last handful of games almost 80 points a game. So I thought about going over in this one.
Thing about Akron also is they have a lot of easy opportunities around the rim due to Isaiah Johnson being
he's a small guy, right?
He's huge. If you like to watch big guys, tractor trailer types, check out Isaiah Johnson for Akron, a load down low. Big like Karnowski. A lot of fire there. I don't have much on that one. Bowling Green, Western Michigan. I'll tell you what, this is another one I think could win. I think Bowling Green could win here. I mean, why is Western Michigan laying 7 points?
Yeah.
What is that all about? I mean, kind of ridiculous. Plus 252, I could see it. I mean, am I out of the question there, Ryan?
I mean, Western Michigan,
Really?
I mean, what have they done to really kind of, open your eyes and warrant laying this kind of number? Good ATS-wise this year, but straight up, nothing to really get excited about. And if Bowling Green can just kind of get some stops, they should be able to kind of hang, I think.
Yeah.
Especially, what are they, 7-point dogs?
I try to keep the show to like 2 or 3 picks a day, but I mean, this is right there. I mean, I don't get this line at all. So for a fun 3-team parlay, I'll throw Bowling Green money line in there. And then you got Kentucky, Tennessee. You have to be absolutely nuts to lay points at Kentucky right now.
Revenge
I'm
spot
just-
here?
I don't care.
After a loss?
I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in this game.
I hear
But
you.
I don't know how you can lay points with them.
I'm
right
sure
now.
people will, though.
Florida, Auburn. Another tough spot here. Florida at some point will slip up. They're not as good on the road as maybe at home. Auburn has been a young, kind of pesky team this year. I like what I've seen from Bruce Pearl. They've played well this year for under the circumstances. A lot of young players, and he's really kind of made them not relevant, but decent, I guess you could say. They're not that typical punching bag. They're not Missouri or LSU.
I can't fade Florida right now, though.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
Even though Auburn's shown some glimpses, I can't fade them. They've been so profitable as a favorite. They've been very profitable on the road, 10-5, and lately they're covering as well. I can't go against Florida right now. That would be my lean.
Tulsa, UCF, no opinion. Drake, Evansville, no opinion really. Look, Drake could win that game.
I think so.
Evansville's
Agreed.
not very good.
Agreed.
But I only like backing Drake at home. Dayton, St. Louis. St. Louis has played really well lately as well. But remember, Dayton got back everyone. They're fully healthy now. Not really interested there. At some point, St. Louis is going to get pasted, aren't they?
You would think, for sure.
Yeah, I'll avoid. Colorado State, Wyoming. Interesting line here. Colorado State's played well. They're a great road team. Wyoming, though, always a tough place to go and play.
Yeah.
We talked about Wyoming. It's not your typical place. You fly in, and you drive up into Laramie. So, always a tough trip. Not really sure about that one. Total coin flip, if you ask me. And again, Ryan, stop me if you like anything.
Kind of like Wyoming there. Just throwing it out
no,
there.
I agree.
That's one that caught my attention a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. Georgia, Mississippi State. Mississippi State, I think, early on bothered people. I think people kind of figured them out. No real opinion on it, though. LSU, Mississippi. I guess I'm waiting for LSU to, kind of be competitive
Give
at some
teams a
point.
scare.
But, I mean, I'm not. Another thing that I wanted to point out, I was watching Cincinnati on Sunday. Gary Clark, who plays there, can't miss from 3, by the way. Couldn't play at LSU. You want to explain that to me?
Yeah.
How did he, not play there? I mean, Johnny Jones is nuts.
Yeah.
How he's not fired?
I
yet,
don't
know.
get it either.
Penn State, Nebraska. Yeah, I could see the reason why you would like Penn State there. Nebraska, I'm not always crazy about fading at home though. So, do what you will. The other top play I would put in the parlay, 3-team parlay, I would go with Ball State. I think they're the better team. Northern Illinois didn't do too much for me. Kind of just evening it out, plus 125. I mean, I would have to do the math there, but I mean that's probably 15-1, I would think, maybe more.
Yeah. Yeah, they're fun to do. Like
That's
you
how you
said,
do
and
parlays,
if you can get those first two, you're guaranteed some money.
Yeah,
So.
if you want to bet parlays,
Which is
that's how
nice.
you should do parlays.
Yeah.
Because then the goal when you do a parlay like this is, again, it's a lottery ticket. If you have an opportunity to hedge,
Probably want to do it.
yeah.
Right.
So for what I would do is find a 9 o'clock, find a 10 o'clock, do something like that.
Yep.
So, again, when you're backing a dog, do you think this team can win outright? And when I see Miami, Ohio, and Kent State, I could see Miami winning that game.
Yep.
A couple more here. Ohio State, Michigan State. I don't know. I'm not really sure Michigan State should be laying 7 points to anyone. I would hope Ohio State can kind of at least hang here. I mean, they're getting some people back who had some personnel issues. I don't know. I'll avoid it, though. No real opinion. Mm-hmm. Boise, New Mexico. Not really sure why New Mexico is a favorite in this spot. Tim Williams has been injured, not been playing. I don't really get this line at all.
You know I don't like Mountain West basketball.
Iona, Canisius, good game in the MAAC. I have no read here on this one. Marist, St. Peter's. How about St. Peter's, the Peacocks, playing good basketball, Ryan?
So good on the road, too.
At home
here, though.
Marist is terrible. I mean, Marist is probably the worst team in the MAC, and when Niagara's in your channel and you're the worst team, you have problems.
St. Peter's should be able to roll.
Do you want to step in front? Yeah.
We should be able to, but...
Right. Denver, Western Illinois. I'll tell you why I like the Summit League, Ryan, because they have 9 teams, right? Only 8 get into the tournament. So one's going to be left out.
Yeah.
There's reasons to win in this conference. Denver, though, is much better than the Leathernecks. They should get the job done here. The Leathernecks.
It always makes me laugh.
So, yeah, as far as for me tonight, I'll go Texas +2. I'll go Miami of Ohio +10. And I'll go VCU -16. You like George Mason at a pick'em.
Yep.
All they got to do is win. And again, guys, definitely take a look at Bowling Green. I think it can hang there. I really do.
The Bowling Green Massacre.
That's fake news, Ryan. Shouldn't be talking
yes,
about
it is.
Don't talk politics on the show. We're not talking about that anymore.
It's still funny, though.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's fake news.
Just because of, like, then what social media did with it.
Right. Ryan, let's move on to some other things, and then we'll get into the 5 questions. Not going to go deep into the show today, but I just wanted to bring up the talks that the Floyd Mayweather-Conor McGregor fight is all but done,
it's intensifying,
supposedly,
yeah.
According to the Irish Sun, which is a piece of journalism over in that area of the world. I think this is, and again, for someone that loves boxing, I think this is the biggest disgrace of a publicity stunt I've ever seen. This is disgusting. This is a waste of time. It's all about money here. I mean, totally.
Ding, ding, ding.
This is a walk in the park for Floyd Mayweather. This is a fighting someone off the street ploy here. I don't get it. And I get you're about money, and that's fine. Connor's very much about money.
They're both are.
And that's fine.
And that's why it's happening.
But here's why they're smart. Because eventually they know they're going to get old, and they're not going to be able to make any money.
Yep.
And that's why, for me, I respect it. But from a boxing perspective, Floyd's fights already suck. I'll tell you what should be getting paid for. You should have to pay for the press conferences. That's what's going to be fun in this.
Yeah, the build-up.
The build-up.
The pageantry, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it'll definitely be fun.
And
definitely.
We also have to point out, most Americans don't like Floyd Mayweather. Most Americans like Conor McGregor. I could say. He's very arrogant. I think we can all agree that. They both are.
Of course.
The pageantry coming on and into this fight, and that's why, for me, I love boxing. It's such a pure sport for me still. It's a sweet science, but its pageantry has gotten a little ridiculous. The constant,
If I can go back quickly, I find what you just said interesting. The fact that you think that most Americans dislike Mayweather but like Conor McGregor, because in my opinion, opinion, they're one and the same.
No, I think
they're the same person.
But I think most Americans at this point gave up on boxing, and they don't like boxing, and UFC has taken over. And Conor is the face of UFC, and he's so, I guess, polarizing in a way. Like,
he is.
He's the guy that just, people root for.
He's the face right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guarantee when they fight, everyone will be Irish. You'll have people that aren't a lick of Irish that are Irish.
Right.
And it'll be fun.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to turn out just like every other European that fought Floyd Mayweather. And that's a swift hook to the jaw.
I'd love for it to happen where, like, McGregor's struggling, and then he just gives him a roundhouse to the jaw. I think that'd be fucking fantastic.
Well, it's going to happen.
I think that'd be great.
Because I'll give you Ricky Hatton.
That'd be awesome.
Ricky Hatton was everything good about boxing until he fought Floyd. And Floyd kicked his ass and put him back
But
to
McGregor's
Basher.
not a boxer.
Well, he thinks he is.
But he's not.
I agree with you.
He's doing it for money.
I agree.
I mean, dude, if someone walked up to me right now and said, Ryan D'Amico, I will give you $10 million to get in the ring for Floyd Mayweather, I wouldn't even think twice.
I agree with you.
And Mayweather has obviously more boxing experience than I have, but is it really that much? He doesn't. I mean, he's not a bot. That's not in his infantry. That's not in his background.
He's not an overpowering
You look
guy.
when he's kind of sparring. I mean, his chin is constantly exposed.
No, and
constantly.
he's not.
So
He's
that's
not
why
he's not a brawler. He's not
that's
going to
why
like
it's going
go
to be
and.
funny if this does happen when people sit there and let's break this down. It's like,
No, but I'm going to tell you what.
You don't need to break this down.
Floyd defensively is the best, and that's why he always wins, because very little action, but he does enough to win rounds and beat people. That's how it happens.
Right.
But you get a guy like this, a Mockery, he'll knock him out. Guaranteed. Like he did Ricky Hatton, like he did De La Hoya.
Long time ago, though.
He's a fucking UFC fighter.
I know. I hear you.
It's a joke. But I'll watch it.
I think a lot of people probably will.
And that's why it's smart, you
Yeah.
know? Because, again, regardless of the patch, I would watch it. I mean, I'm going to watch every fight that comes up here, you know? But, you know, you got to end careers, man.
Yeah.
If you're Conor, why do this? You've already lost a big fight. You know, it's not about him losing, though.
It's about money.
I'm just wondering how they're unifying it and allowing
He
it to
likes
happen.
being in the spotlight.
I know.
He likes being in the spotlight. He likes money. I don't think you need to ask
Which-
yourself why. I don't think anyone needs to ask yourself why he's doing that. That's the way. I mean, there's a reason he went up to the weight class like that and fought Diaz. One, he knew it would get attention. Two, he knew, if I lose, I'll get another title shot, headline again, get a big payday. If I win, I'm glorified.
Which I don't
Which he
hate.
did.
I don't hate what
So.
they're doing here. Again, we're all going to get old. We all got to make our money now. These two guys, they'll never have to work again.
Yep.
And people want to see it. They'll watch it.
Right.
So
They definitely
good for
will.
them.
Yep.
But it's a mockery. And it ruins the sport worse and worse.
Yeah.
Ryan, let's get into 5 questions and then wrap it up. Tomorrow we will talk about, obviously, the card as well. And we'll get into some interesting questions I have for you on some college basketball, some kind of off-the-wall questions
All right.
that I would like to hear your opinion on.
Sure.
What do you got for 5 questions today?
Yeah, 5 questions. You know the drill by now, guys. Number one, first thing that you think of when UConn women 100 wins is brought up. What's the first thing you think of?
Oh, great question, Ryan. And I'm glad you asked this, because we didn't talk about this before the show. But it's going to be a quick 5-minute piece for me. Tell you why this is everything wrong with America. This is everything wrong. This is the constant mediocrity okayness in this country. We continue to award mediocrity and root for people that are mediocre. You're beating people that aren't any good. There's no one in women's basketball that even is close to what they're doing. And they get praised for this. No one cares. You're not beating anyone. It's just like this. I'm going to bring this up because it relates to what I'm trying to point out. There's 100 kids in this country that are listed. They've worked hard to become the best of the best in high school basketball. And all I see on Facebook, you know who I see, Ryan? Fucking LaMelo Ball and Zion Williamson, who are playing absolute nobodies night after night and fly in on dunks and show out and don't do anything to earn where they are. If you asked 9 out of 10 basketball fans who the number one recruit in the country was, they couldn't tell you one of them. And that's my problem. We reward mediocrity in this country. We reward the UConn women and put them on ESPN instead of putting on guys that actually care and train about basketball to face a team that can't even compete. Who cares? That's what I say. Who cares?
Here's the thing.
I'm sick of hearing about
I'll
it.
answer that question. Nobody really cares, with the exception of probably young females in this country that look up to these college basketball players and look up to UConn women for how well they perform. But
What are we looking up to?
I mean, no one watches women's basketball.
And what are we looking up to? We're looking up to people that beat up on the weak. I mean, they win by. It's no competition.
I hear you.
It's like me. It's like you and I playing against second graders. I mean, it's not.
But
it's stupid,
right? Well, that's why no one watches it.
It's like I see.
I have plenty of girlfriends that like sports,
Right.
And none of
They
them
don't.
watch. They don't
It's
watch.
a horrible
They don't watch
product.
college women's basketball, and they don't watch WNBA because they're smart enough to realize it's not a very good product. Even though they're women, and even though they like to support those women, it's just not.
It has
entertaining.
nothing to do with women.
It's
I just
not
made a
entertaining.
point. I just made a point on the mediocrity that we look at. We root in guys that dominate like country day athletes. That Zion Williamson kid, all he plays is like, you know, and I, you know, was glad early on because I was like, you know what, kid's a high riser, you know, but then you look at it, you know, and say like, who has he played?
People just look at stat lines. I mean, really, that's all they need. That's all they do. Perfect example. And I'm not using you as an example. I'm just using people in general as an example.
No, they're not. No, they're not. LaMelo's not a 5-star recruit. He's not. Neither are our seniors. That's who I look at. I don't look at a kid when he's a sophomore.
Well, it'll be interesting to see.
That means nothing.
It'll be interesting to see where they are in their senior year.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see where they're at.
And if you notice, LiAngelo, the other brother, he's not even a top 100 recruit.
Right.
Let's give them some time.
Right.
Okay. Let's let them face someone. Michael Porter is a transcending talent and going to be a fantastic player in the NBA. No one knows who the fuck he is.
And the problem with what, and this is completely off tangent of my question.
I'm aware they have class rankings. I don't care about them until they're seniors.
But the problem with these kids when they don't face legit competition, where any, I don't want to use the word good parent, but any parent that understands what's going on would remove their son or daughter from that program, put them into a higher competition program, because guess what? If this continues and these kids play this competition for the next 2 years, 3 years, when they get to college, it's going to be a huge wake-up call.
Correct.
I mean, huge wake-up call. They're going to be like, and I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about practice is going to be extremely difficult when you're going to Kentucky or Duke or wherever they decide to go, and in practice is harder than any high school game they've ever played.
The arrogance of Lamar Ball is disgusting. I don't know if you saw, he did a TMZ interview the other day. He's throwing UCLA players under the bus.
Yeah.
Can't wait till Lonzo gets out of UCLA and goes to the NBA.
Yeah.
It's going to be easier than UCLA.
I know.
And you know what's great about LaMelo? He don't play any defense anyway.
Yeah.
So you'll fit right in at fucking UCLA. They don't play any defense there.
Of course. Yeah.
Zion Williamson will be a bust. Mark my words.
So.
I'll be able to say that.
So the first thing that comes to your mind,
and they played O'Kill and lost,
so let's obviously is where we're at. Yeah,
right.
To me, it's definitely just kind of in between. Like, I don't care who you are, you win 100 games in a row. Yeah. You know, you didn't have a slip up. That's impressive. But yeah, they're not doing it against very good competition.
So what do you think about the kid Zion? You've seen him on Facebook.
Yeah,
the way he could. It's impressive.
Yeah, he's talented.
But
it's not to say the kids aren't talented. It's just to say, like, let's see him against some better competition. Yeah, and I think that's all you can ask for.
Like I said on Facebook to some people, let's see Zion this summer at the ABC camps and things like that.
Yeah.
If he's dominating over, as a junior, he's dominating over, people like, Marvin Bagley and people like that. Okay. If I was him, I would go to a higher level school. I would go to Oak Hill or something like that.
And that's why that's why basketball is kind of annoying. Like football, I mean, when it comes to high school football and football recruiting, I mean, these kids, they want to go to Paramus Catholic. They want to go to IMG Academy. Right. They want to go to, Sarah High School in California. I mean, they want to go to these schools that are good competition for one, and two are pretty high profile to where even if they're not throwing for 400 yards and 6 touchdowns like they were at their first school, as long as they're doing pretty well, I mean, you have to give credit to them, and that's what I think more basketball players should do. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I'm aware they play AAU, and yes, I'm aware that you can totally decide where you go to high school. I mean, what are you talking about?
There's a lot of parents that, and let's be real, you want to talk about the Balls? The Balls are financially stable to where they can put their kids in a different school. I get some people don't have that luxury. I get that. That some parents can't afford the pay or the increase in cost for certain schools. I get that. You don't understand that?
I totgoing to understand
that a public school is cheaper than a private school?
Of course.
Exactly.
Of course.
And certain private schools are going to be more expensive. So I get that certain parents aren't able to do that.
But explain this to me. Zion Williamson goes to a country prep kind of school where it's high-level academics. Right. It's a day school, basically.
Right, I know what it is.
Come on.
Yep.
Now you're telling me that he can't go and play better competition?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that can be talked about for a long time. So,
dude, Trey, again, we try to argue, and your points are not. We get what you're saying, but again, why aren't you telling me how good these kids that are top 50 recruits are? DeAndre Ayton is a fucking man, dude.
Yeah.
Michael Porter. Michael Porter goes to public school.
Yeah.
Garfield, Nathan Hale. I mean, they went there. They went there to play for Brandon Roy. You have to improve. If you're going to be... And that's why I look at the one kid from our area that is in the NBA right now, went to a prep school. Parents don't have a lot of money. Mm-hmm. It improved him as a player, though. Because if he would have stuck around here, he'd be like all the other kids that I know. Sit in barbershops on the weekends, don't make any money.
Yeah.
Because they got into drugs and all that kind of thing.
Right.
All I'm saying is, I want to see Zion play against higher level competition.
And that's what this whole discussion comes down to. So is playing better competition. So
did you see Joel's girlfriend?
I did see that.
How hot is she?
I mean, what do you expect?
Good for him.
What do you expect him to have? I mean,
good for him.
So, didn't think I'd get that sort of response and discussion out of a UConn women's basketball question. Was just kind of going for a reach.
We give all kids trophies.
I was kind of
nowadays.
just reaching for that one,
right?
Yeah, no, we definitely do, and that's definitely one big issue.
No kid. There's no, it's first place anymore.
It's a shame. Yeah, and I could talk a long time about that. But number 2, which game are you looking forward to most out of these that I give you that are on the remaining slate for college basketball the rest of the season? Duke, Virginia. Second team is home team, by the way. You can't figure that out.
All right.
Duke, Virginia. Kansas, Baylor. UCLA, Arizona. Or how about a little A10 VCU Dayton matchup? Which game out of those 4,
What was the second one, Ryan?
It's Duke, Virginia,
Yep.
Kansas, Baylor, UCLA, Arizona, or VCU Dayton.
I think UCLA, Arizona would be a good one. I mean, the first one was kind of one-sided. UCLA really needs to prove a point.
And that's going to be a road game for them, too.
Right?
Be a really big win.
They're always, I'm always, I always like watching those schools play. I think Arizona's still pretty for real. But yeah, I mean, they're all good. I hope that Dayton game's like a Friday night. That would be a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, you have UVA, UNC would be a good one.
I think UCLA, Arizona,
yeah.
just because of how bad Arizona kicked their ass in the first matchup, and it's a road game, and I look forward to that one the most. And I didn't put Duke UNC on there just because everyone knows about that. So, number 3, I think this one's interesting. Our second half collapses, which is something we've become accustomed to this college basketball season. Our second half collapses going to carry over into the tournament. We're going to see them in the tournament,
I don't believe
or
so,
since it's better competition, would you expect more teams to be able to close games out?
Things usually even out in the tournament. You don't see
Yep.
I don't think there's going to be any upsets this year. I really don't. The mid-major.
That's interesting, considering the parity is
No.
pretty wild.
I'm talking about mid-major upsets. I don't think there's really any team. There are very few mid-major good teams this year.
Gonzaga, maybe.
Well, I'm not talking about them. But all the mid-major teams, I mean, they keep losing. I mean, Belmont just lost over the weekend. So I think that the collapses will stop. I mean, it's one and done. So you can't really afford to rest on your laurels. Let's say. Last night, there's so many games in the regular season that don't mean anything. Sometimes you just need a game. Mm-hmm. I think they are a little bit more cognizant of that. So, no, I don't think there'll be as many.
Okay. Number 4, what is the dumbest holiday in your opinion? Today, obviously, being Valentine's Day. What is the dumbest holiday to you that you just kind of can't get your head around?
Right. Well, do you have one?
When it comes,
are we talking like federal holidays?
When it comes to the major holidays, I'm a very holiday person because I'm very family oriented, so I like spending time with my family. So the bigger summer holidays, obviously, and then Christmas, and Thanksgiving. I really enjoy the holidays. I'm not like a Debbie Downer like some people are when it comes to them. So I kind of enjoy them. To be
honest. That a shot at me?
No, not really.
Yeah,
I just enjoy them. So for me, the dumbest holiday, I don't know, Valentine's Day, even is Patriots Day. How about Flag Day? That's pretty fucking stupid. But, I think it's stupid. Great. Let's.
I mean, I definitely think
throw all our flags out.
I'm gonna probably say Valentine's Day. I mean, I don't think you should have to be told when to.
One day, right?
Yeah, when you're told when to do that. A Columbus Day is a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a guy that
he founded this country.
He massacred Indians to do it.
Yeah, and he founded for us.
Yeah, that's skepticism there. Tell the Indians that.
I don't know any.
But do you remember that episode of Sopranos? When that's a really good episode.
Which one?
Do you remember the episode? It was season 2. Yeah, it was season 2. Basically, there was a guy. His name was Del Redcliffe, and he was trying to stop the parade in Newark for Columbus Day because the Italians are very much. And down in South Philly, they have a Columbus Day parade.
Right.
They were basically trying to stop that, and Silvio and Paulie were all behind it.
Yeah.
They didn't want it to. It was a good episode.
Yeah.
We'll watch that tonight.
Okay.
I haven't seen that one in a while.
Number 5.
Halloween. There you go. Great one. I fucking hate Halloween.
Well, it's for kids.
It's a fucking stupid holiday.
It's for kids, man. I mean, it really is. I mean, that's definitely a holiday that's really meant for kids.
Stupid holiday. Halloween or Valentine's Day.
Okay. Number 5, last one.
What do you think?
What?
Would you pick? Halloween?
Oh, I said probably if I had to pick between those two.
Because they're by the dumbest.
Yeah, Halloween for me because I'm not into scary movies and all that.
But even when I was younger, I
kind
didn't
of stuff.
dress
I
up.
liked Halloween as a kid, going around with friends and going trick or treating. That was fun. Getting into trouble and stuff. That was enjoyable.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
But as an adult, I'm good.
I won't even take my kids out for Halloween
Wow, that's kind of fucked up.
if I have any.
That's fun. That's fun for them. They get to dress up and have a good time, get some candy. Last one. Who do you have a bromance with in sports? Who do you have a man crush on in sports? Because we're both single. I mean, you gave a shout out
Come
to Jen,
on,
but for the
man.
most part, we're single. So who do you have a man crush on?
Well, I'm not. Well,
It's not doesn't mean you're gay.
No, I know.
And there's nothing wrong. Not there's anything wrong with that.
There's a lot.
But,
I mean, a
but
lot
I
of guys.
think everyone has a man crush. I'll give you mine.
Dario.
We probably have the same one right now. Dario.
Yeah, I love him.
He's the man.
He's awesome.
He's fantastic.
I'll give you another one. While it's definitely Dario for me right now, I tweet about him all. I love him.
He's great.
His
personality's fantastic.
Yeah, and he's funny, and he's he's kind of innocent in a way, and it's it's
I
funny.
like Wentz as well.
Oh, Carson.
Because I have red hair, he has red hair.
Oh, yeah.
Both pale skin.
Carson's great.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Here's
those two for me are right now in Philly sports, because that's obviously what
Here's one I'll give. I know a lot of people don't like him. I think he's hilarious, and I think he kind of reminds me of the things that I laugh about, he laughs about.
Right.
Dan Le Batard. I like him. I've always been a big fan of Dan's.
All right.
He's the kind of humor he laughs about, I laugh about.
Right.
I mean, his dad's hilarious as well. But I like Dan Le Batard. Always have. I think he kind of says it how it is, and I respect that about Dan. So, but there's a couple ones. Jacob deGrom, that's a good one. Nice hair, good pitcher.
Yeah, he does.
By the way,
does have a nice mane.
And we'll get into baseball
Nice
a little
flow.
next week. How good are the Red Sox going to be this year?
I feel like we say that every year.
But no, I mean,
And they
Chris
never win.
Sale, I mean, come on.
Remember whenever we thought that about David Price when he was coming to town? Look what happened.
Why do you hate Jaleel so much? Why does every Philadelphia fan hate Jaleel Okafor? Because he's a waste.
What's not the...
He's useless.
Yeah.
He doesn't play.
The big
plays
thing
no
is
defense.
he doesn't play defense.
Yeah.
The numbers, look up the numbers if you can find them. Like
He's
Comcast
one of the-
Sportsnet does a really good job, our local station, of putting up the numbers. The drop off defensively when he's on the floor is staggering.
Yeah.
It really staggering.
And many don't know this, but he's a constant pain in the ass. He's been involved in a lot of things off the court. His dad is not easy to deal with, and he's a waste.
And especially you have a log jam of bigs.
Right.
Why wouldn't you get rid of him?
Yeah, he's
Why
not
would you
needed
want
at
to
this
get rid
point.
of him?
Noel has turned into.
And I think, and look, and correct me if I'm wrong here. Maybe your opinion differs from mine. I think I've heard a lot of people kind of bashing the Sixers. I think the Sixers are handling this the right way. Not just taking anything for it.
Yeah, but it's not taking anything. It's
I think they're doing it the right way.
The deal is to get Doug McDermott or something like that.
The deal is to get something or a high enough pick that's going to contribute to the
I think
team,
Sixer
not
fans
just
are.
give him away.
I think Sixer fans are concerned that he's still here and why he's still here. That's the concern for Sixer fans. Okafor is just. Again, I think we are too concerned with what he did in college. He didn't do that in the NBA. Sixers aren't a good fit for him. He has not worked out here. And again, like you said, Ryan, there's Nerlens Noel. I mean, let me ask you, who would you rather have? And I've been critical of Rashawn Holmes. Who would you rather have?
No, I hear you.
I mean, Rashawn Holmes is better
And he
than
gives you a
Okafor.
spark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, the Sixers, they're well on their way. Only a few games away from hitting their over for the total
Win
wins.
totals, right.
So,
Yeah, I mean, they played well last night. I just really am, again, they're not winning anything. They're not really, but even without Embiid, they're fun to watch. I mean, they're interesting.
Yeah.
You know?
What T.J. McConnell's done for that team is awesome. And it's a shame because obviously when they've talked about Simmons coming in and running the point, I really hope there's a place on this team for T.J. McConnell because he's
definitely surprised me.
He's very enjoyable.
When he first came into the league, I thought I couldn't believe he was in the league. I really couldn't. I thought he was a D League.
He started
player.
out with the D League. He did.
Yeah.
And if he's not on the Sixers, if he's on any other team, he probably doesn't get that promotion and get caught up and put on display how well he's playing.
Before we end tonight, I do want to bring up, as we talk about the D League, what the NBA has done in the D League is one of the more disgraceful things I've seen a league do with a farm type of organization. There is no benefit to playing the D League, none, other than you might play in the NBA.
Yeah,
do you know what to get paid per year?
Probably not very good.
Less than most Americans.
Yeah.
$25,000 a year.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Why not go to Europe?
It's crazy. Here's the thing, and the NBA has kind of
D League's a fucking joke.
NBA has kind of put themselves in, and you can look at it You can look at the same spectrum with baseball. Minor leaguers don't live a luxurious life.
Yeah, but Brian, I mean,
what's the common denominator with NBA and MLB? They don't have a salary cap,
right.
So the big time players are taking all the money away, so they can't fund minor league.
And plus,
and D-league
in the minor leagues in baseball,
the minor leagues are terrible.
No, I know, but
they stay in like 3-star hotels,
But if you're,
it's pretty lame.
If you're pretty good though, you have a shot to get to the bigs. You know what I mean?
But right,
no, and you're going to get signing bonuses, things like that.
Right.
The thing about the NBA is it's either the NBA or the D League.
Right.
And if you're in the second round, you're probably not going to play. So you're going to go to the D League.
Yeah.
And I envy a guy like Josh Childress who said, you know what?
Yeah, he just bounced.
It's really not that good here anymore. I'm going to go over there to Europe and make a lot of money.
Why wouldn't you?
You make no money.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, I know it's probably every kid's dream to play in the NBA, but if it's just not in the cards, it's not working out, and you can be successful overseas somewhere. Why not?
There's around 400 NBAers at current capacity. You're really one in a million.
Oh yeah.
I mean, really, it's very difficult to get to that level.
For sure.
I mean, like Lamar, the kid we were talking about. He was so good when we were younger. Even at Pitt, he was awesome. He's one of the better players in the AACC. I mean, he barely in the league.
Just got back in recently too, which is
right.
a good thing.
So it's tough. I mean, it's really a shame how there's really no avenue unless you want to go play in Europe somewhere.
True.
Which I would do. Probably.
Very true.
All right, everyone have a great night. Thanks as always for chiming in. Great participation. Always some really good guys on the chat box. You're welcome, man. I appreciate you all listening. Ryan and I really appreciate your continued support of the show. We will work feverishly as always on the show. Appreciate you all listening. Ryan, your play of the day, George Mason at a pick'em. Like that play for sure. For me, a couple plays. I like Miami of Ohio plus 10, Texas plus 2. Again, Texas plus 2 is very borderline for me. Just a lot. I mean, it's hard to get enthralled about a team with no road wins. I also like VCU minus 16. That game already started, though. Everyone have a great night. We'll see you back Wednesday with another edition of the Big Man on Campus. Have a great day. Bye-bye.